that can have the ability to fire 20, 30, 40, 50, 120 shots from that weapon, whether it's a 9mm pistol or whether it's a rifle, is ridiculous. I'm continuing to push to eliminate the sale of those things.
Alright, welcome back everybody to the Death by Tyranny podcast. This is a test. We're only going to be on here for a couple of minutes. I'm going to run a few short tests to double check the audio. I ran my intro that I normally play, so we're going to see if Facebook mutes it, because apparently that was the issue yesterday on why they ruined a whole video and made me redo it for the third time. So as of right now, it sounds like the audio is coming through just fine on Facebook. I believe we fixed the... Oh, bumped the mic there. I believe we fixed the comment issues as well. So if anybody comments, I should be able to see that. If anybody hops on here while we're running these tests and wants to just like, comment, or anything, so I can double check those things out. We're going to play a little bit of a video from YouTube. We're actually going to play some copyright-free Christmas music, see if maybe that doesn't trigger YouTube as well. So we're going to go ahead and start playing the Christmas music, and then we will play with some of the audio settings a little bit, see if I get any of that echo. Alright, so I'm going to switch you guys over to screen share. It boosts the volume for whatever reason. I hate that Ecamm does that. I wish it would let me have a little bit more control over the volume, but it is what it is. I guess if you're screen sharing something, you're obviously going to want to hear the volume. So that's probably why that's a built-in feature. But Ecamm, if you see this, that feature sucks. Alright, what's going on here? Where'd my back. Hey, I kind of had to do some default settings, so I gotta redo some of this stuff. Alright, we're gonna boost the Christmas music for a second just to see. Sounds like it sounds good right about there. Let's turn it down and see what that does. Can you guys still hear that? There's a delay. I'm not just sitting here staring at you guys being weird. There's a pretty significant delay. It doesn't even really sound like I turned it down. So that barely has any volume at all. Why is it? Showing that we got a watcher, so we fixed that issue, showing we got a like. Hopefully we get a comment in and we can double check that. Like I said, I don't know how those settings got changed. Yeah, so let's see if that doesn't make my volume a little bit louder than the... Or you know what? I know. I got you. You're not smarter than me. Technology. We can leave the settings alone and just turn it down here on Facebook or YouTube. Let's see if that helps. We'll see if that does anything there. Oh yeah, there you go. That worked. Like I said, there's a delay, so I apologize. Everything looks and sounds good so far. Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, so it all works. We're all good. Figured out how to turn down. Just took a little figuring out. I'm probably not going to leave this test up. Like I said, it's just a test. We'll stay on here till the 10-minute mark, and then I'm going to go back after the video ends because I'm not sure when they muted the volume, but they did it because of the intro. So we played the intro. Now we're playing generic Christmas music. So if Facebook was looking for something to copyright, they got plenty to look at. I mean, they shouldn't be able to mute me, but we're giving them things to, come and check out. So if nothing happens at this point, that means somebody reported my video for a copyright. So whoever that was, you can go fuck yourself. And we had a couple new viewers last night. I appreciate anybody who stopped by and commented and tried to help us out last night without all the issues we were having. And for whatever reason, we had some viewers that used to watch that no longer watch, and I'm not sure why that is. I have a good feeling on why. It's two people in particular that I'm talking about that watched almost every one of my podcasts and then just out of nowhere stopped watching. I think one of them is probably due to some of the language that I use, which I would totally be willing to fix some of those language issues that you guys are having with me cursing and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is one of the goals of this channel is to fight back against some of the censorship. And if I'm gonna censor myself, for one, it's gonna take away from some of that authenticity. If I'm going to say "oh shoot" when I would say "what the fuck," that's not being it's not being who I am, and I think that's really going to come off in the video, and I think that's going to turn people away. They're definitely going to be able to tell that I'm not trying to be authentic, and so I don't want to do that for that reason. And the other reason is we were always fighting against censorship. So I already censor myself to some extent. Like, I'm not coming on here and going, let's see if some of these faggots float in water, I could. I absolutely could. But, well, that too. We are Ohioans, and for the most part, our verbiage is just, I don't want to say dumbed down, if you will, but we do use curse words a lot. Well, see, so if they were really worried about taxing the rich and making it fair, politicians wouldn't be able to short the stock market, and they wouldn't be able to give their significant others leeway and head time to the stock market. Like they definitely did that with coronavirus. There were definitely a lot of people that made a lot of money during COVID, the beginning of COVID, buying and selling stocks. And so I do not believe any of these Democrats in government, Stephen. I don't believe that any of them are serious about taxing the rich. For one, most of them are the rich. It's just an appeasement tool. They're just using it to feed their base. And it doesn't go any further than an echo chamber, right? They're just saying it. They're just saying it to say it, really. they're not wanting to accomplish anything, if that makes any sense. And you know that. And well, that too. Yeah. I see Trump caught a lot of flack, and I do want to do a video on, I don't know if I should like title it like Trump haters or something like that, but there was a lot of things that Trump caught a lot of grief and a lot of flack for that wasn't necessarily his fault. And he had pretty powerful people behind the scenes constantly working against him. And you can tell he genuinely didn't understand or wasn't aware that they were working against him, because he was still allowing them to have very high-ranking positions in his cabinet while they were still backstabbing him. And as soon as Trump leaves office, they go and work for some of these bigger Democrat nonprofits. And they were working for one of the best Republican presidents to ever hold the Oval Office. So it just goes to show you that there's very, very powerful grifters in the White House to date, and they're probably doing it to Joe Biden as well. The thing is that Joe Biden is not consistently doing the opposite. He's just helping them. So they'll definitely try to keep him in office, but I think he's going to need God's help to stay in office more than the voters, to be completely honest. And I don't care what any progressive leftist Democrat says. If Kamala Harris wins an election, the system is beyond fixing, because there's no way. Most Democrats don't like Kamala Harris. Her own party didn't like Kamala Harris. She's a dumb bitch. I mean, you can tell. You can listen to this woman and just see. She can't even handle the pressure of simple questions. Not to mention, they've been hiding this bitch in the closet for like months now. So either she's just catching COVID over and over and over, and they don't want her in the spotlight, which I doubt that's the case because, immune systems. It's probably more so that they know anytime anything of significant value happens that Joe Biden looks bad for, they want all of that blame to stay with Joe Biden, because more than likely he's going to die of old age or some type of, mental illness or whatever he's got going on there. And they want to be able to shove Kamala Harris in there. But I do not for a second believe that some of these I think even the libertarians that are, sucking on Joey Jordison's tit, right? I think even them, or even they would vote Trump or whoever runs as the Republican president, even though in most cases they would vote libertarian because, it empowers their balls or whatever they think that that's doing. But I think even they would vote for Trump or whoever's going to be the Republican presidential nominee, because they hate Kamala Harris that much. And I think you're going to have a lot of the center aisle Democrats vote against Kamala Harris. Yeah, I mean, it's not just one, it wasn't just one person that was fighting against Trump, working for Trump at the same time. But, and you might have seen this, OH. You might have seen this, but it was through Stu Peters' Telegram, where he did the special on. The only thing is Ecamm won't let me screen share my Telegram, so I can only do the audio, and even that I could play it through my phone, but we won't be able to see it. So that's the only reason I haven't done that video yet, is I'm trying to figure out how to screen share the Stu Peters video where he goes into depth about some of the heavy hitters fighting against Trump while he was in the Oval Office. But go figure, we're doing a test and there's all these viewers, and if I kill the stream now and get back on in like 10 to 15 minutes, I got like 10 jackets on too. It's like fucking burning up in here. Oh, anybody who's watching, or if they see this after the fact, me and a buddy need help figuring out how to clip. I know that's probably a boomer tech thing to say, but if anybody knows how to do that, that would be fantastic. Just to be able to clip like minute portions of the podcast, that, and I need audio clips to send somebody to redo an intro since Facebook's fucking with mine. Omar is a terrorist, though. That's just that's just one more example of Republicans trying to appease the left. It's exactly what I was talking about we're playing this game, right? There's two sides, we're playing a game, and we let one side take all the shots, and we're not even defending against them. Like, I'm not asking Republicans to fight back, even though they should be. That's what we should be asking them to do. We should be asking them to be grilling these Democrats every chance they get, not just fucking Ted Cruz, because even he gets it ass backwards sometimes, but every single Republican. This should be the lowest bar set when it comes to Republicans being congressmen. They should be in these Democrats' faces. They should be fighting against every single bill. We should not have 24, 23 Republican representatives fighting for transgender civil rights. That should not be a thing. You are what you're doing there is you are going to make it illegal to be an outspoken Christian. You are going to make it illegal for you to be able to speak your beliefs on these platforms and these social media platforms. When we come on here and we talk about transgenders being a mental illness, which just is, that is the fact. I'm not even being disrespectful there. I'm just stating the obvious, right? If we come out and we say that there's only two genders, a man and a woman, these are going to be things that are against the law. If stuff like this transgender civil rights bullshit passes, and we have 23 Republican representatives co-signing this trash, it's ridiculous. There is nothing that is in the House, the Senate, or in front of Congress right now that should be bipartisan at all. I have not seen one fucking bill. And I would say there's some Republican bills that I would agree should be bipartisan, but the fact of the matter is, we get back to this game, right, where two teams are playing against each other. It doesn't matter what Republicans put in front of Congress. Democrats are going to vote no 100% of the time. Maybe the one guy in, what is it, West Virginia or whatever, the guy who is like kinda sorta pro-gun, and he's not pro-gun. What's that guy's name? Steven knows his name. What's his name, Steven? The guy, it's either West Virginia, he's the governor there. He always fights against like the ATF stuff. But anything the Republicans put in front of Congress, Democrats are going to vote yes. That's it. I got to remember how to pronounce it now. McCain? No. My screen's so small. Manchin. That's what it is. So yeah, the only person that has voted anything that the Republicans have put in front of Congress has sided with the Republicans is Joe Manchin. And these aren't bills that the Republicans are writing. He's just the only Democrat fighting against Democrats. So still, that statement holds true. There is no bill that the Republicans are putting in front of Congress that Democrats are being bipartisan, are co-signing. So why are the Republicans co-signing on some of the worst bills that have ever been brought to Congress? The infrastructure bill will destroy not only the economy of the United States, but it will put our children's children in debt. And it doesn't even have a whole lot to do with infrastructure. And the few things that it does involve infrastructure in, like I could see where you'd say adding some of these battery charging stations throughout the United States as part of an infrastructure bill. But all of that is being contracted to China. So how is that bringing jobs to America? They aren't American jobs if the work's being done in America, but it's contracted to China. American jobs mean American people working in America. That's an American job, to me anyways. But yeah, and even Joe Manchin, I'm pretty sure, has been able to be swayed to the Democrat side. And to be honest with you, if Hillary was in office right now, Joe Manchin would be dead. If Joe Manchin went against something that Hillary Clinton said, somebody would hop out of his closet and put a bullet in the back of that dude's head. Just not even for the not siding with the Democrats, but just the headache that it would give Hillary Clinton. Yeah, exactly. The roads are shit. I mean, it took us almost 20 years to rebuild the Riverside Bridge over there off of Riverside going, I think that's Nottingham. Stephen probably knows the old bridge I'm talking about. They tore that bridge down when I was like 12. It didn't get rebuilt until I was like 28. And even then, it's not a good bridge. It's not going to last long. It was rebuilt with cheap-ass Chinese steel. And I'm sure our garbage-ass Democrat mayors in Dayton had a lot to do with that. Yeah, so, I mean, the jobs being shipped over to China is one thing. This has been happening for a long time, and the only person that's fought against the jobs being shipped over to China is Trump. And that's why you cannot have Trumpism without Trump, because he is the only person that's going to say the things that need to be said when it comes to that. If anybody else tries to say something like that, they're going to call him racist. The best thing about Trump is he's already been called a racist, a bigot, a Nazi, and he's moved past that. He hasn't sidestepped it. He hasn't prolonged it. He has worked through it. No matter what he has been called, he has been able to go forward as a president and to do great things for even the people that have called him racist. And there is nobody that is in this Trumpism movement that has been able to do that. So what does that mean? Well, that means if any of these people like DeSantis get into the Oval Office and try to bring these 600 jobs back from China, he's going to be called a racist. And because it's going to hurt his feelings and he does not know how to work through it, he is going to renege on it, and he is going to try to appease the people calling him a racist. That is why we need Trump and Trumpism. He already knows. Not only is he a money guy, right? But he's a infrastructure guy. He knows about how to prop up falling neighborhoods. I mean, he pretty much, what was it, Harlem or Manhattan? If it wasn't for Trump, these places wouldn't even be around. And they're some of the gayest places in New York. So where some of these homosexuals come off calling him a fucking bigot is ridiculous. It's like the slums that were built up so you homos could come in and take over. Most of those places are only livable because of Trump. You fucking ass clowns. See, now you guys got me going. We're 23 minutes into the test. All right, let me take off my jacket. We'll just keep going with this one. No, I disagree. I'm going to disagree with the Hillary putting down BLM. I don't believe that at all. I think she would have held a press conference where she would have had sex with a black man on stage to prove that she was not herself a racist, because she's one of these old school Democrats that was against abortion, right? She was against gay marriage. But then as she needed the votes, she changed. Well, if BLM is doing what BLM does and being a terrorist organization and using their violence to impact political judgment in court cases, they have enough power to influence Hillary Clinton to change her mind on law and order. It would be even worse. If Hillary Clinton was in office, the people that went in on January 6th, they would have been executed. That's what Hillary Clinton would have did. I agree that she is for law and order and for power and is a true authoritarian. I 100% agree with that. She just wouldn't have used her power to fight against BLM. I still think as far as the oil reserves things go, I think that there's been enough people come out, at least enough evidence from what I've seen, that we have enough oil here in North America that we could tap into some of those things. Yes, Hillary is for BBC for sure. But I think we have enough oil reserves here in North America. And if we get into South America as well, we have enough natural minerals or whatever, things that we need to be building some of like the chip shortage we're having. If we went down into South America, we could not only keep some of those illegal immigrants down in South America, because we could make those chip factories in South America, right? And make them get, we're not going to pay. We're not going to pay people $20 an hour to go back to work, but we can make Brazil pay people $15 an hour to make chips down in Brazil, and then we can take the chips from Brazil and start putting them in American vehicles and just bypass the whole Chinese continent. And then we tap into the oil reserves in North America and Alaska, at least the next 10 to 20 years, enough to bring gas prices down and lower some of the inflation we're seeing, get rid of all the vaccine mandates. That is as close to getting back to normal as we're going to get. And none of these things are being sought after, at least not by the electoral part of our government. We're not seeing anybody in Biden's cabinet talking about not doing the mandates because it will save jobs, not doing the mandates because it's against the Constitution. We're not seeing anybody in Biden's cabinet talking about tapping into the oil reserves in North America so we can lower gas prices. In fact, we've seen that Biden shut down our fucking gas lines his first day in office, which should have shown everybody right there that he did not care about American jobs. He did not care about American gas prices. He did not care about the American economy. And that's why you see his approval rate drop so far. Even in these left-wing newspapers, his approval rate has gone down dramatically. And from everything that I've researched and found, if you're reading a Republican a poll from a Republican newspaper or something like that, it goes from a 7-point swing, I think is what it's called. So if you're reading a Republican newspaper and they have polls and it has Joe Biden down, his approval rate is down to 28, you would plus that 7. So his approval rate's probably 35. Now, if you're reading a Democrat or a progressive newspaper, you minus 7. As far as I've seen, most people agree with that. Most of the people that are really deep into these polls, if you are reading the polls from one side or another, you're going to plus or minus 7 points, whether it's a Republican or Democrat poll. The food shortages are already here. I have taken pictures time and time again, and the worst part about the food shortage is it's hard to predict, because let's take Alfredo sauce. So my family, we're big promoters of the Alfredo sauce. Not so much myself, but my family is. So there's a certain Alfredo sauce that they like. That's the only Alfredo sauce they'll eat. And the beginning of the pandemic, it was gone. You could not find it. And then sporadically through the year, you would see 1 or 2 cases get filled in some of these stores every 6 months. Now, I don't know if that's a food shortage coming. I just don't know at what point in the supply chain that has been affected by. I don't know if all that Alfredo sauce is sitting in a shipping container somewhere off the coast of California, and these people are just, not allowed to work because of COVID mandates, or if the Alfredo factory, in China or wherever the hell it is, if they've been affected by COVID, so that's where that starts. But to really fight against these food shortages, we're going to need to know at what point is the breakdown along the process. And as far as I can tell, I can't tell. Now, when it comes to commercial goods and stuff like that being shipped to Walmart and Myers and Kroger's and places like this, I don't know a whole lot of the supply chain. What I do know is I do know the supply chain when it comes to guns and ammunition. And I can tell you, as far as that goes, the demand has had the most play when it comes to the breakdown in the supply chain there. You are having some of these companies like Hornady, which we'll touch on Hornady. That is something I wanted to talk about tonight, because they're doing this Black Rifle Coffee bullshit that everybody seems to be jumping on board with, that they think they can put fucking guns in their ad and these 2A supporters are gonna fucking buy their products. But then when we get to the real nook and cranny of this shit, when it comes to the laws and the rights of people to own these things and the ability for people to get these things and to help fix some of the supply chain issues and some of the prices we're seeing raise when it comes to guns and ammunition, they're doing nothing. But anyways, as far as the ammunition goes, it's the demand that played the most effect in it. You have bigger companies like, we'll just go with Hornady, because it's one that pretty much everybody knows. They had the ability to crank out ammunition, but the ammunition was just going off the shelves as fast as it was being put on the shelves. And they had to judge, do we spend millions and millions of dollars to bring on more people and to build more machines? And so what they did in the meantime is, let's say 9mm. 9mm is probably the most bought caliber when it comes to ammunition. So what they would do is, instead of from 9 to 5, they would run the dies for 9mm, and then they would switch to 22, and then maybe by 10 o'clock they would switch to 308 or 556. Instead of doing that per day, what they ended up doing is they would run 9mm dies and only make 9mm ammunition Monday through Friday. So the people that were going, I'm going to get into these oddball calibers like 10mm because those are still on the shelf. That worked, but only for a short amount of time, because Hornady wasn't making 10mm anymore. They were only making 9mm from Monday through Friday. And then come Friday, they would switch the dies to 22 and then run 22 all day Saturday. And then Sunday, they would run 556 or something like this. Now, it's not day by day, exactly like that, but this is the process they were going through. They were trying to see if they could keep up with supply and demand by just running a certain caliber for so many days. It helped a little bit. It did fill some of that back void when it come to the people that were just buying 9mm and 556. But inevitably, they did have to buy more machines. They did have to buy more reloading equipment. But then they run into the supply chain disruption there. We've seen this at our work, where you would never think you would run out of a swing arm for a dairy processing plant or something, just minute, a little screw. But these parts were never in very high demand. So if you didn't keep them on your shelf in-house, now that you're going 2 years into the pandemic, the dairy processing plants that needed that before us, they were smart and they ordered those parts because they knew what was going to happen. And Hornady was one of the first ones to reach out and try to buy some more of these reloading dies and prop up more lines for ammunition. So for the most that, and they're a premium brand. A lot of people went out and bought cheap ammunition and are just looking for stuff to put away. But for the people who wanted, good home defense ammunition and wanted to be able to train with that, it's a little bit more expensive. They were some of the first people to take advantage of some of the supply chain disruptions. So they were going out and looking for these parts. They were also some of the first people to take on more staff and go 7 days a week. And at the beginning of the pandemic, they did a very, very good job. But where we see them now is, instead of working 7 days a week and hiring more Americans to make American ammunition, that is very good ammunition, the best ammunition, what you have is you have someone that holds, and we talked about this yesterday, doing what's right to preserve and put respect on your last name. Do you want to be the last person to hold your last name and to make that last name not respectable? Well, we see this in Hornady today. Their base, the people who buy Hornady ammunition, are not getting vaccinated. And if they are vaccinated, they do not agree with the mandates. But what is Hornady doing? Come January 4th, they're going to make it to where they have to be vaccinated to work in these Hornady factories. So unfortunately, if there is ammunition on the shelf now, prepare for it to go away again. And some of the overseas ammunition companies that backfilled those holes, like Tula, some of this cheaper steel shit, we can't get that anymore. Why? Well, you can't make steel core ammunition in America. Obama got rid of that. So all the cheap steel core crap, just garbage ammunition that only AKs can run, that ammunition was coming out of Russia and Bulgaria and places like that. So we were importing it from there. And it was some of the last ammunition to see that price increase, and some of the last ammunition we've seen on the shelves because it comes in the country in large quantities. Well, not a lot of people were paying attention, but Biden just put a sanction on these ammunition companies. So all of that Russian, Bulgarian ammunition, that shit's going to dry up too. Unless they can find a loophole where they ship it somewhere else before it's shipped to America, and they have done that before. We have seen that in the AK market where Arsenal of Bulgaria was able to bypass some of the Russian AK sanctions for a little bit by importing them into Bulgaria and then to America. But inevitably, Obama figured it out and got rid of all of it. And the biggest issue with this is when you talk about just nerding out a little bit on the gun stuff, some of the best rifles you're going to see as far as AKs are coming out of Russia and China. Not a lot of people paid attention to this early on when they were cheap because they said, hey, it's coming from China, it must be crap. This is back when America was great and we looked at American products being the best. So anything out of China was shit. Anything out of Russia, we didn't want. We were not only with them in an arms race, but a race to the moon. So we did not want to support their products. But we found out later that they really held the blueprint for some of the best AKs in the world. And they have those tool and dies to those machines to be able to make those firearms, and that's the only place you can get them. So once Obama put that sanction on China and Russia to be able to ship those AKs into the country, that was the last of good AKs coming into this country. Now we're working with subpar AK manufacturers like Arsenal of Bulgaria, which, don't get me wrong, for the money, which is not cheap, you're still looking at, 2 years ago you were looking at about $900. Today you're looking at about $2,000. But it is a subpar AK, but it is some of the best AKs you can get in America. They're still very good AKs. And if you were to ask me whether or not to buy an American-made AK versus a Arsenal of Bulgaria AK, I would tell you, if you're not buying Arsenal, do not get into the AK game at all, because they are the only ones worthwhile unless you are finding some of these second-hand AKs that were brought into the country before the sanction, like some of the pre-ban Hungarian AKs. Those are very fine AKs. Some of the Romanian Warsa AKs, these are even worse than the Bulgarian ones, but compared to the American AKs, trash. Well, so the issue with our weapons being sold to Afghanistan, the real big issue there is when it comes to America, when you're talking about the heavy hitters, okay? The big players on the chessboard, right? China, Russia, America. When you're talking about these players when it comes to war fighting, as far as big arms, nuclear warfare, that is something totally different. You have spies that have probably been infiltrating each other's factories and trying to steal blueprints. But with China in particular, even though you had the Taliban selling off some of this $85 billion of worth of military equipment, yes, it did do some damage. It did hand over some of our unknown technology to Russia and China. But for the most part, Russia and China were doing their own thing. Russia has been working on a 545x39 platform for a long time. And China is so, they play when it comes to small arms so secretively that a lot of Americans don't even know the sidearm that the Chinese government is using right now. Well, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, it could have changed because the last time I looked into this was about 5 years ago. But as far as I know, the Chinese were looking to adopt the 545x39 cartridge, which is the Russian cartridge that was invented to compete with the American 5.56. Now, where this gets scary is you have Russia adopting a caliber, or China adopting a caliber that Russia is using, and I think there are a lot of people in America that would like to think that, Russia isn't better friends with China than they are friends with America. They're just three of these big players and they're all looking out for themselves. This is not the case. In a lot of cases, China is playing very nice with Russia and vice versa. And we're going to see this in Afghanistan. The Chinese strongholds Yeah, it was a slap in the face when. Well, I don't really think they were doing a parade. So I don't think it was a ceremony for the Taliban when they were using our equipment and kind of showing it off. I think that the Taliban does two things very well. One of the things you picked up on, they are religious zealots. They do not fear death. So it makes them very hard to beat. And a lot of people that don't believe in religion and like to think that God doesn't play a factor when it comes into war, you're wrong. We just seen a religion, for the most part, not the Taliban, but the Taliban's religion beat off the biggest military in the world. That was because of religion, nothing else. Not skill, not the weapons they had. They beat that back and beat America out of Afghanistan with religion. So that's one key point. The other key point that Taliban has going for themselves is we think they're stupider than they are. They have people that have Twitter accounts, they have people with Instagram accounts that are going on the internet and trolling the fuck out of American people, and it makes the normies in society think that the Taliban are stupid. Some of these videos where you have, the Taliban swinging around on merry-go-rounds with AKs and not being safe. Yes, I'm sure there were some people that invaded the strongholds in Afghanistan after America left and were acting asses. I'm sure that was. But the person videotaping that, the person putting that on the internet, that was the Taliban. That was the Taliban trying to say, look how stupid we are, Americans. We want you to think we're stupid. And then they go in and they do these psyops on American people. And we fall for it every single time. Meanwhile, Russia and China are best friends over in Afghanistan, getting ready to steal all those natural resources using the same firearms. And we think that China's fighting Russia. They're not. They're playing very nice. And what I was getting at was what's even more scarier is if you think China and Russia being friends is scary, but they won't do anything, right? Because they're too big, they're too powerful. If they shoot off a nuclear weapon, it's going to be known. It's probably going to be the end of the world. Their destructing somewhere else is going to cause them self-destruction. Yes, you have a point. But who else uses the 5.45x39 cartridge as well as some of the military weapons and contracts through Russia? North Korea. And North Korea don't give a fuck. And we've seen this. And the only reason they ever had to give a fuck was Trump. One more reason why you can't have Trumpism without Trump. Because Xi Jinping, or whatever the fuck his name is not scared of DeSantis. He's scared of Trump. No, but it's a good point. And like I said, even I didn't see it at first. And the reason I didn't see it is because the Taliban is smarter than we think they are. You see these videos of them acting unintelligent with firearms and stuff like that. Those are just throwaway soldiers to the Taliban army. Now, the heavy hitters, the smart people, some of the smarter soldiers in the Taliban, we don't even know their names. The people that are calling our phones every day asking us to buy more dental insurance, hacking into our accounts, we don't even know their names. That's where a lot of the Taliban gets their funding, other than oil from Iran and stuff like that. But they have little side projects. They have whole little hives created to nothing but social media psyops towards America. I've watched a couple interviews with ex-Afghani soldiers, and he keeps telling the FBI, like, hey, I know I'm in Texas. I know I'm in this program to keep me safe, but I am telling you, I am running into Taliban soldiers in America that are threatening my family. Every time I change my phone number, they find it. Every time I change my social media, they find it. Every time I move, they find it. This can only happen one of two ways. Either the Taliban is smarter and has more people over here than we think they do, or we have, people in the American government that are trying to eliminate some of these higher intelligent Afghan army people that have come over and settled down in America, which I don't think that's the case. I think Afghani army soldiers that were able to fly jet planes and stuff like that, if we were going to bring any of those people over here, those were the ones to do it. Those were the ones with high IQ. Those were the ones that actually held value. Those are the ones that we could reuse in our military. But even that, I don't know that I would let them do that just because they're Afghan. And I think you should have to be born in America to fight for America. That's just me. And we see this happening in Canada right now. We have so that's one of the unfortunate things about communism and capitalism. If that fight never happened, if communism was never the great enemy of America and this was just something that we never picked up on, we probably would have been allies with Russia instead of the UN. And honestly, this would have come to play better benefit to the American people. Right now, if we weren't fucking with places like Israel and all the people we lend money to through the UN and supply our 18-year-old troops, Russia doesn't need our 18-year-old children to go fight for them. They have their own 18-year-old children to fight for them. They don't need our money to hold up their economy. They have their own money to hold up their economy. Same with China. That's why we should be playing nice with these places. China just wants us to realize, hey, we don't want to be Christian. We don't want your people here. We just want to be left alone. If you want to trade, let's trade. You want to make money? Let's make money. And Russia's the same way. They don't want illegal immigrants going into Russia. It's only America and the people that are in charge now that are trying to dilute their home people and destroy the religion that built the infrastructure they're trying to pass this bill for. America is the only place that is trying to destroy itself from within, and it starts at the federal government down. And that's why we have to figure out how to get federal government out of our lives as much as possible. This is truly the only way to make America great again. It might start with getting a good leader like Trump back in office, but after that, it is going to slowly but surely make big government small again and put the power back into the American people. And that's just where it is. And where Russia and China does it right is they elect people like Putin and give them total power. And this is where the libertarians shake their heads, right? They're like, no. We need a new president every 4 years, and that's just what it is. Well, look what just happened. We just had a great president do great things for 4 years, and guess what happened after those 4 years? He got psyoped and kicked out. And now we have one of the worst president we have ever had. And thank God we're only stuck with him for 4 years. But what if we got another good president in there? What if we got a good president in there like Trump and he was allowed to serve 20 years? Imagine all the great things that he could do. And libertarians can't get in on this conversation without getting triggered, but it's just the fact of the matter. If we had somebody who was strong-headed and is passionate about America that Putin is about Russia, but had more of a soul like Trump, 20 years from now, our children would see some of the best American offsprings when it comes to ideas, infrastructure, economies, retirement plans. But we're never going to do it because not only do we have to fight the fucking Democrats on this idea, we're going to have to fight the retarded libertarians as well. Yeah, it is returning to tradition. And I mean, I guess tradition is switching a president every 4 years. But you have to remember that was only the case because George Washington wanted it to be. It could have been something else. And the same people that will say, absolutely not, we need to change our president every 4 years, no matter what, because this is tradition, this is the way it has always been. Those are the same people tearing down our statues, erasing our fucking history, and saying that we've changed the Constitution before, so we can change the Constitution again. Okay, you want to play that game? Let's play that game. If we get a president in there like Trump, we're letting him stay in for 25 years. How about that? Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. That's absolutely what I'm getting at. When you have people in there for only 8 years, what do? They make their friends money. They make their buddies money. They make the best situations for the people they know and the players around them. But they have no passion or concept for the future. Because for one, they've been so fucking old, they're not going to be around for the future, so they don't care. And that's why they pass infrastructure bills like these fucking $60 billion fucking garbage ass bills Biden's trying to pass. Hold on, my dog's scratching at the door. Come on. Move. Oh. Alright. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if kings are the answer. All I know is 4 years is not enough time to do anything, and we have clearly seen this with Trump. He is the only... I mean, you can say that he didn't do all the things that he said he was going to do, but the ideas that he had, the things that he could have accomplished in 8 years would have been some of the biggest and best and most significant changes we would have seen in American history in the last 30 years. And in my opinion, maybe JFK loved the American people. But we watched a video the other day, right, where we know that JFK and his brothers were only put in position of power because his father lost his best son in World War II and he had a grudge, so he put his family in power to take on the federal government. That's why JFK ran for president in the first place. So was his heart truly in it for the American people? Maybe. I don't know. I wasn't alive for that shit. But from everything that I hear and the people that were actually there, it seemed like JFK truly cared about America. But other than that, when have we had a president that you can actually feel his passion for America? It's sure in the hell not Biden. It sure in the hell wasn't Obama. The only thing I felt when Obama got on stage was, this is a smart fucking immigrant, and he hates white people. But it sure in the hell wasn't American pride. Trump has been the only president that has walked up on stage and sold out arenas, had highways blocked for miles. You know why that is? Because the authenticity, because people could feel that he actually cared about America. Not only did he care about America, but he proved it. He has been one of the biggest heavy hitters in the American background for a long time, and he has always talked about doing what's best for America. He has always used his money, influence, and power to try, whether it worked or not. If you want to talk about some of the gambling arenas and shit that he built up and didn't work out, he took a chance, right? Not everything works out, but look at all the things that he did that did work out. And make America last for another 10 years is probably one of those things, because if Trump wouldn't have gained power and fixed some of the things that he fixed, and we would have went from Obama to Biden and what Biden's doing right now, we probably wouldn't even be talking about America surviving. We'd be talking about what we're going to do after America's over. Man, we're at an hour. I'm glad we got the comments working. This was just supposed to be a test. Good stuff, good stuff. One of these days, I don't know if Steven left, but one of these days we got to get Steven on here talking. I'm just curious. I know he served in the military and has done some pretty cool stuff around the world. I'd like to see some of his perspectives on what's going on in America. I follow him pretty close on Facebook. He's about the only one I really pay attention to on Facebook, to be honest. Yeah, it would have been. And that's one of the biggest things. People want to talk about World War III. Well, for one, there's two things that come to mind when you talk about World War III. People talk about the Second Civil War and get it construed with World War III. That would not be the same thing. We are in a cold Second Civil War. It is happening. We are actually talking about breaking up the states within the United States of America. You cannot tell me that we are not having a second cold civil war. When you have Black Panthers in front of courthouses persuading judges and juries to come back with guilty verdicts, I didn't even watch the Ahmaud Arbery case. You know why? Because it should have not have been a guilty verdict. It should have not have been a not guilty verdict. It should have been a mistrial. It should have been a mistrial, because you had Black Panthers out front of the courthouse trying to persuade and intimidate the judges and the jury to come back with a guilty verdict. Along with the Kyle Rittenhouse case, thank God they came back with a no guilty verdict, but that should have been a mistrial as well. When you have one political party, and the Black Panthers, the Black Nation of Islam, BLM, these are political parties tied to terrorism, that use violence and aggression to persuade political decisions. I mean, just think about it. Think about it this way. If outside of the O.J. Simpson case, the Ku Klux Klan hung out where the jury comes out to make sure that they came back and found O.J. Simpson guilty, what would you call that? Would you call that terrorism? You absolutely fucking would. So why is it not terrorism when the Black Panthers are doing it in 2021 when we're supposed to be in the era of the most equality ever, when we're given fucking transgender civil rights? We still have these fucking jackasses from 1950s that think they're some kind of militia standing outside of a courthouse trying to intimidate the jury. Fucking retards. Well, hey man, since you're still on here, do you want to call in, or are you getting ready to crash? Do I know Steve? Yeah, I know Steve. I worked with him for about 8 years. I'm not going to dox him where it was at, but we worked together for about 8 years. He's a little bit older than I am, but he's still pretty cool. He's one of the few people I'd say that is outside the Zoomer Alpha generations that get it. He's always constantly saying stuff on Facebook that pisses people off. You know what would be funny? If Steven actually got the attention of Joe Biden and said some of the things he says on Facebook, that would be hilarious. Because that's how he posts on Facebook. He posts as if Joe Biden himself is reading it, and it's hilarious. He does it to AOC and Omar, whatever that fucking terrorist name is. Do you want to call in, or are you getting ready to go to bed? If you're going to go to bed, I'm probably going to pull up a video or something and maybe go through that for a little bit, and then I'll probably hop off. But if you want to call in, we'll hold it down. All right, so you're gonna have to give me like 3 seconds or so, because I got it hooked up to my ear pod, because I have to monitor the fucking audio just to make sure Facebook isn't deleting it. So I gotta take this out and I gotta switch over to the Rodecaster. It should be pretty quick. Hopefully, well, we probably won't play any videos, but if we play videos, we might have some feedback issues, because I think what it is if I have mix minus on while I'm on the phone, it gives me feedback issues. And why is it not letting me do it? So yeah, I was saying 2 devices. Disconnect. All right, can you hear me? Oh, well, why are you still in here? There we go. That should be better. At least
yeah, you sound terrible.
I sound terrible?
Yeah, whatever you just did, now you sound pretty bad. And there's an echo from me.
Yeah, see, I think mix minus has to be off when we're on the phone, but when I play videos, it has to be on. What about now? You still getting that echo?
You still kind of sound like shit. Yeah.
I don't know what we were doing different than what we were doing the last time. All right, try to hang up and try to call back in, see if that fixes it.
All right.
All right. I'm not really worried about technical difficulties when it comes to this stuff, so. All right, what about now? Does it still sound like shit?
Yeah.
Damn.
And I can still hear myself.
Yeah, I don't know. And the mix minus didn't make a difference there.
Well, you did something right before I said something that, well, now I'm not hearing an echo.
You're not hearing an echo now?
No, not from me.
Okay.
You still kind of sound pretty bad, though. It sounds like, you're a robot or whatever. But whatever, this will work.
All right. I got all the channels turned off except for the Bluetooth and my channel. So, and I turned mix minus on, so that feedback shouldn't be there.
Well, we could do it now. You don't sound. I can still understand you. It just sounds like you're talking through a sock or something. You know.
Yeah. It probably had something to do with it being hooked up to my other Bluetooth, because the last time I had my phone hooked up the whole time. I don't know. It's hard to tell anymore. And like I said, I can't tell on my end unless I have that earbud in. I can go to Facebook, but I know for a fact that's going to give us a super echo. We'll try it.
This is fine. It's fine.
So, what were we talking about?
You're talking about that guy, and then before that, we were kind of talking about how we need more than 4 to 8 years, which I agree with.
Yeah. I mean, if you really think about it, why would you, if you had something good going, right? You don't have a marriage for 8 years and it's going fantastic, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, it's been 8 years. We got to get somebody else in here. You don't take military generals, right? If you have a military general that has led you into battle time and time again and has won war after war, you don't switch that guy out. You keep him in. The president is the only seat in government that we switch every 4 years that has a huge impact when it comes to the federal level. Now, I could understand maybe some of the smaller positions in the government being switched out every so often, but even the governors are in there for a significant amount of time. Now they go up for election a little bit more often. That's right. Governors go up for election every 2 years, right?
I think governors are 6. I think senators are 2 years. I can't. Yeah, because DeWine's been in for over 4 years now.
Okay.
Now I'm hearing the freaking echo again. It's quieter though.
No, I know why the echo's going on now. I just wanted to check it. The only way I could check it is if I opened it on Facebook. So you were hearing the echo because it was literally playing back right afterwards. So that's why that was.
All right.
So we'll look it up. I think another reason. See, the only thing I don't know is I was getting the echo. While I got you on the phone, we'll figure this out, and then we'll get back into it because I want to look up how often governors get put up for election. I think it's every 2 years. Anyways, so the last time we were on the phone, you had no issues, correct? It sounded pretty good?
No. Yeah, that sounded pretty good. Now the only problem I'm hearing is you just sound a little bit like kind of shaky. But I can handle it. It's no big deal.
See, I'm wondering. Can you hear me now?
You know what's going to suck is once you get a following, we're going to have these same conversations again.
Oh, what about like
to
the
a
president
bigger
and stuff?
audience.
Or to
No,
fix
just
the
all
audio?
these conversations, like I've called in and we've covered points, and you've covered points even without me calling in. Obviously, all these points we're gonna have to make again. Like once you actually get like a couple hundred people or something, you know what I mean? Because it's not like people usually go back and watch like 2-hour streams from like
Yeah.
several months or a year ago.
It's going to be an unfortunate must is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
We'll just have to do it. And I'm trying, I think once we get there, if we get there, I think I will be humble enough to realize that, people like Nick and even John Doyle and everybody that has gained a following to some extent has probably said the same things over and over again, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the...
I was thinking about making a video earlier today, but I think I'm going to start making videos like Whizzle Root videos. Like, how he does his videos on YouTube? Thinking about doing videos like that.
Yeah, so
his thing.
I've watched his videos, but I haven't watched his videos enough to understand how he does them. Once you start doing this, and you can tell,
He does a selfie on his phone.
is he just doing it through his phone? Because some people,
Yeah, he puts his
have.
arm up.
So, well, a lot of people, they have a camera, so the quality is really good. But if they got like an iPhone 13 or whatever, they don't need a camera. You're going to get pretty much the same quality. But a lot of people will use a camera and they will still hold it on a selfie stick, and they have external mics. Like I have an external mic on my camera. I just have it turned off so it goes through the SM7B, because that's going to sound better for what I'm doing. But if we were like outside or something like that and I was unable to bring mics with me, they have one that plug into the camera and you can put it on the little hot shoe up top where like the little dead cat is, and there's mics that go there. You can add lights and all kinds of shit. Like when we went to Springfield, I wish I would have had some kind of external flash, because the lighting wasn't all that great on my camera. That's why I did a lot of it with my phone. But yeah, the only thing I can remember me running was I thought I had mix minus off, but you're saying the mix minus, the point of mix minus is supposed to be to take the echo out. If somebody is talking and they're listening as well, it's supposed to take that echo out. That's what mix minus is for. Now, for whatever reason, when you're bringing in audio from the computer, it works the same way as it does with the phone. So you will hear like a double feedback through the PC. But the last time we were talking, I'm pretty sure I had mix minus off. We were listening to a video online. There was no echo there, and there was no echo on the phone end as well. So I'm not sure. I set it up exactly the way that I had it, not at first when you first called in, but after the fact. And there's another way I can run the phone through, which might make you sound a little bit better. I can not run the Bluetooth channel and run it straight through a cord. I finally bought one just to see if it helped the audio. We can try that and see if it gets rid of, and it should also connect my phone straight to the Rodecaster, like hardline it to the Rodecaster, so it might make me sound better as well. I'm not sure.
If you want to test it out, I'm fine. Or if you want to continue and have a discussion, that's fine too. I don't care. I was tired, but I kind of snapped out of it. That's why I didn't want to tell you no necessarily, because I didn't know because I took kind of a nap, and then now I'm awake and I feel fine.
Yes. So I'm okay to talk for a while as long as the baby stays asleep. Yeah, my issue is I gotta get up tomorrow and do some things before work, so I can't go to bed too early and wake up too early. I'm like stuck in a weird spot. Cause I got a eye doctor's appointment at 3.
Dude. I'm so freaking glad I'm so glad I've taken this time off, man. It's been so nice.
Yeah.
I just hope a certain person puts in the vacation time like I asked them to, because I think I might contact some.
You might have to hold on a second. I think that might have jacked things up a little bit. All right, before you carry on here, real quick, hold on, because I plugged something in and it cut your audio off. So let me get this hooked up the right way, and then we'll try to do a test real quick. But yeah, I kind of snapped out of it too. I almost didn't do a video tonight just because I had to redo the same video 3 fucking times. But then it was like, if I go all weekend and I only got one good video out of it, I'm going to be pissed. So I was like, I'll just get on here and see what happens. And this was supposed to be a test anyways. I was going to like close it out and then go live on YouTube. But then you and Steven got me going, so we'll just stay here. That, and there was like 4 people watching. There's probably nobody watching now.
Yeah, because I jumped off.
People,
because I usually watch you on my phone. So
yeah.
When I call you, I have to abandon it.
Well, that, and people have short attention spans, so they'll like, they like I said, they do support, but sometimes they
People
don't
hear
stick around.
and think like, yeah, pro-Trump, and yeah, that's right. And then we'll say something about Israel, and it's like, oh, I don't want to listen to this guy.
Yeah,
Or we'll say something
yeah.
about how the Taliban, maybe it's a good thing that they freaking pushed us out and we got embarrassed. You know what I mean? Shit like that. And like people just, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that shit. But I think it is a good thing we got embarrassed on the world stage by a bunch of freaking mountain people that can't even speak.
Well, I think you have to find some good in the situation, right? Even if you get your ass kicked, like if you pick a fight with somebody and you get your ass kicked, you can either choose to realize, hey, I got my ass kicked, this is why, this is what I need to do if I'm ever in that situation again, or you can just go and mope and be a little bitch about it. And that's what a lot of Americans are deciding to do with Afghanistan. And like I said, you have people like Dan Crenshaw that are trying to put the blame at the feet of conservatives that wanted to pull out of the Middle East. It's not our fault Joe Biden didn't have a game plan to pull out of the Middle East. And the true reason why I think he pulled out of the Middle East was because he thought it was going to make Trump look bad. If he decided to carry out one of Trump's things that would have little to no consequence to him, and it would make Trump look bad because he could go, hey, all I did was what Trump wanted to do. And Trump wouldn't have pulled out like that, for one. He's already been on record saying that there was certain stipulations that the Taliban would have had to carry out for him to even pull out by that date. And I'm sure he would have been coherent enough to not leave $85 billion worth of military equipment over there. But, I mean, we can either focus on that, or we can be the Dan Crenshaws and try to only look at the blame somebody else.
Are we just going to stay there for the rest of eternity? Like, we were there for 20 freaking years. And people like Dan Crenshaw think it was like, oh, it's no big deal that we're just there blowing money. And they were setting the Humvees and tanks on idle just to keep their budget. Because you know how, like, even where we work, if they go under budget, then they lose that money next year. It's the same thing with the military.
And we see this all the time with school districts. School districts do this a lot. Like, say last year when it came to COVID, kids weren't in schools, kids weren't doing the lunch programs and anything like that, and they lost a lot of the money they were spending. They decided to spend it elsewhere. And now this year you have a lot of school districts giving out free lunch. Why? Well, because they're using a lot of that money so they don't lose it. It's a use it or lose it scenario. But I think more so what Dan Crenshaw's issue is when it comes to wars in the Middle East is Dan Crenshaw is not a middle class individual. He is a very highly paid individual, and it's not from book sales. It is not from being retired Navy SEAL. It is not from him being a congressman of Texas. It's not from his podcast. What it is from is that he got into the inner circle of the war machine. He realized what stocks to get into, and now the only way he makes money is if those stocks continue to rise. Well, the only way those stocks continue to rise, when you talk about 3M is one of the big ones. I actually bought stock in all the military contractors that people don't pay attention to. 3M is a big one. And then they just got sold last year. The people who do the night vision, I forget the name of it, but I'd have to look it up. I bought stock in them, but their stock went through the roof right before we pulled out of Afghanistan, and a lot of those stocks dropped when we pulled out of Afghanistan. So the only way Dan Crenshaw makes the big bucks is if those wars continue. And we have to take that into consideration when we vote for people like Dan Crenshaw.
Well, Dan Crenshaw is a really good example, and so is the guy in the wheelchair. What's his name? Madison Cawthorn. Both those guys are really good examples of what would have been like, honestly, in all other circumstances, they would have been very, very popular candidates. And actually, they were popular when they started out. Like, Crenshaw was super popular when he first got in the limelight, and so was Madison Cawthorn. But you know why people don't like them? Because they were clearly groomed by the establishment conservatives. Like, it's obvious. Just like Crenshaw. Like, Crenshaw wrote a book that said America would be nothing without Israel. Israel is a country that came into existence in 1947. This country's been around for 200 years longer than that. And he writes a book
And
that says
yeah, I mean,
America wouldn't exist without Israel. That's
and the fact of the
kind
matter
shit
is,
that the elites want, but American people see that and they say that's disgusting. I don't want that. And they, just like what you said with the wars, they see that this guy wants to stay in the war forever, and American people say no, that's ridiculous. We don't want that. And all other things, like he was a Navy SEAL, he lost his eye in service. That's like freaking conservative bait, big time. People love that shit. Madison Cawthorn, car accident, really handsome guy. He's young. And again, he's a very likable. All that stuff is very likable for both of those guys, but their politics are poison, and people are naturally resistant to that.
yeah, well, and you're right. So what you have a lot of Navy SEAL teams, right? You got SEAL Team 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 being one of the most predominant ones because they did the Biden raid or whatever. But a lot of these Navy SEALs, so I don't know if you know this because it's part of the 2A community, which ties into the libertarian community, and it also ties into this ex-military bro vet. And I'll explain to you where the term bro vet came from, and it might be funny to you and it might be kind of cringe. But so what a lot of people don't understand is Marines, Green Berets, other people in the ex-military pipe hitter community, when you're talking about actual operators, 82nd Airborne actually knocking and kicking down doors over in Afghanistan, the people who are actually pulling triggers over there, when it comes to that community, that there's a big inner community there, right? And they play a huge part in the Second Amendment community. And it is a huge joke that every single Navy SEAL, when they retire, they're not fully retired until they write a book. They've all done it. Well, they do this because they are looking for that new pipeline. Instead of the military operator pipeline, they're looking for that war machine military complex pipeline. And the way that you get picked up on that is to be noticed. So the first thing they do is write a book. And if that book's a hit, then you have these people come out of the woodwork from companies like L3 Harris. L3 Harris is the company I was referring to. I looked it up. I didn't remember it, but I should have known. They are the people who make the tubes for night vision. They also make a lot of other things like the IR devices that are on the AR-15s and stuff like that. I'm sure they make other things when it comes to like helicopter vision and stuff like this. They're pretty big when it comes to making things for the military complex. Well, people like Dan Crenshaw don't get noticed unless they step into the limelight. And for whatever reason, it's just a natural ability for these Navy SEALs to come out and to get picked up on that industrial complex. They usually become politicians. Another good example, I'm not going to say he's a bad guy. Everything I've seen from him has been pretty decent. He's not really an America First representative or anything like that, but he's always kind of fought against being over in Afghanistan. Is the guy from Last Survivor, the one who got like left over there by himself. They made a movie about it. The guy who actually was the real person, he was a Navy SEAL. And even the firearm that he used over there, I think it was the MK-12. It's just a fancy name for a souped up AR-15 or M16, whatever you want to call it, M4. Anyways, he's another Navy SEAL that stepped into politics. It's just really easy for them, and it's because you're right.
What does he do? What does that guy do?
We'll look it up. I don't know. I think he's from Texas too, so the Texas
maybe he does
Texans.
local stuff.
No, I'm pretty sure he won because he's on Tucker quite a bit. Lone
okay.
Survivor. All right. What is the true story of Lone Survivor? I think his name's Mark something. Marcus Luttrell. That's his name. Marcus Luttrell. All right. So let's search. Marcus Luttrell. All right, lone survivor soldier Marcus Luttrell. I was just looking for like a Wicca thing real quick. There it is. Marcus Wikipedia. United States Navy SEAL, Navy Cross, Returning Home, Lone Survivor Foundation, Personal Life, Operation Red Wings. Nice. Awards. It doesn't say anything about his political career on his Wicca, but I will tell you this. I do know he is running for something. Maybe
Well,
I'll just ask.
It's either way, the point remains. I mean, it's a big game, and I'm sure, like you said, a lot of them are politicians. I'm sure a lot of them become like executives for like Lockheed Martin and shit.
Yeah, so I guess the point of the whole conversation is just to say Texans really like their Navy SEALs, and you just have to be careful. You can't just, it's like going to the polls and just voting on everybody with an R in front of their name. We have seen this been a huge mistake in the conservative movement, and now these Texans are going and they're voting for people that have an R in front of their name that are Navy SEALs, and it's not any better. You know, they're not looking into the.
Well, because everyone thinks, and this is part of why me and you, and whether me and you acknowledge it or not, I do. I don't know if you do, but like the America First movement altogether, this is why they say this. We need to break down this idea that like the veterans and like these war heroes are like gods and like not to be like questioned or second guessed. Those wars are every war since. I mean, even World War II. I mean, we were tricked into World War II, so I'm not really like saying any of these veterans are bad, but every war after World War II, like Vietnam and all that, none of those wars had anything to do with our safety. None of those wars had anything to do with, you know, like what we were told. We were lied to about it. Saddam had nothing to do with 9/11. Saddam didn't have weapons of mass destruction, but we went in there anyway. So I'm sorry, but these guys, maybe they are war heroes. Maybe they did a good job at war, but you know what? The whole war was bullshit to begin with. So why are we looking at them like they're heroes?
So here's the bigger thing that people are missing, right? They only see the Dan Crenshaws up front and personal talk about some of these issues, and they never want to link Dan Crenshaw and the money that he is making off of these wars. They just want to give him the recognition that he's been in war, so he must know about war. And that's not necessarily true. Understand, he was an operator. He was not a general. He was not in politics at the time. He does not understand the economics behind warfare. So for him to say that we should continue war makes absolutely no sense. Navy SEALs do not design those missions. Navy SEALs do what they're told. Do they have the ability to switch up things in the middle of combat? Absolutely, if it comes to saving their life. But understand, they're not making the big decisions that impact us at home. They're pulling the triggers to eliminate people that the people who do make those big decisions that affect us at home tell them to do. And I did find it. Marcus Luttrell is running for Congress in Texas in the 8th District. This was June 3rd, 2021. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe he might be running against Dan Crenshaw.
Oh, I hope.
And if he's not running against Dan Crenshaw, he's running against, what's his name? Mr. Take Your AR-15, Beto.
Oh, Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you know, I respect people that go in the military. It's just the problem is that the military has not done anything for the American people for decades, for generations. It hasn't. I mean, even World War II, you could argue, what did that have to do? Everyone wants to say, we'd all be speaking German now. The German bombers didn't even have more than a 2-cycle engine in it. What does that mean? That means that they weren't designed to fly over the Atlantic Ocean. They had no intentions of invading the United States. What the Germans did, and you can read their documents early on, before the war even started, what the Germans' goal was. The Germans' goal was to unite German-speaking and ethnic German people. That's why he went into Poland and what's it called? He basically gave all Polish Germans citizenship to Germany. So then they migrated back to Germany, and they were automatically citizens of Germany instead of being in Poland. He annexed Austria. These were the first two things he did. He annexed Austria. Well, Austria is basically, they're all ethnically German. They speak German. It's just got a different name because they had different monarchs at one point. That's the only reason why they're two separate countries. Really, they should be one country. So that was kind of, and then he got into it with the Czechoslovakians because they were discriminating and torturing and even killing a lot of German minorities that lived in Czechoslovakia. So again, Hitler, his goal was to unite the Germans. It was not world domination. It wasn't even Europe domination. He didn't want to dominate even the UK. There's several writings from him and his generals on how he wishes that the UK would have stayed out of the war.
So
it pained him that the UK would do that. They saw them as their brothers. So again, even World War II, I don't even think was like they were fighting for the American people. I think that was just another bullshit war that we got into.
well, I think fundamentally surpassed World War II or whatever. The bigger issue that we're seeing here is we can link this back to yesterday when we were talking about liberalism being satanic. If you want to get down to the root problems, this feminist movement has a lot to do with it. What you have is they want to say that there's not equal opportunity in the workplace for females. Well, I don't know about that, but what I will tell you is there is unequal opportunities in politics for males. It almost seems as if the only people that can run to be politicians in the United States of America either have to be ex-Navy SEALs or multimillionaires. But when it comes to females, you have, bartenders being elected.
Bartenders.
Yeah. So these people have little to no life experience, right? And then you have the total complete opposite of that, where you have ex-Navy SEALs that have the perspective of the Middle East. So at some point in time, when are we going to start electing just average land-owning Americans?
I know, dude.
If you want to fix the middle class, that's what you're going to have to do. If you want to fix the middle class, you have to get the middle class in Congress. Until we get rid of these...
Man, if you threw out every freaking one of these politicians and you replaced them with just if you went into a bar per county and just said, that guy right there, just randomly, or a farmer, like just walked onto a farm and said, hey, bub, you want to be a congressman? I guarantee this country would run better.
It will,
just the lowest
at the very
low,
least,
like white middle class person.
At the very least, the middle class would make more money. They would be less stressed because the people in Congress would be enacting laws to help the people that you see every day. You don't see these congressmen and these ex-Navy SEALs and these fucking stupid-ass liberal bartenders that get elected, or illegal immigrants that marry their brother so they can be an American citizen, get elected. When are we... They always, it's like they want to get rid of the things that were good about America a long time ago, and they want to keep the things that weren't good about America a long time ago. A long time ago, you had to be a landowning American. We can leave the white part out of there even. If you have significant consequences to be had because you own land, you have, you probably care about what your neighborhood looks like. You probably have some type of value in your neighborhoods and your communities. So when you go to vote on these laws that dramatically affect those things, like not being able to have so many cows on your property, or not being allowed to eat this amount of meat, or putting taxes on meat because of carbon tax, none of that shit would be happening because they know it has little to no effect, if it does have any effect at all. when it comes to climate change. But
Or
what
they
it
just be like, "What the hell is that? I don't want nothing to do with that." Or they just like they would come to the right conclusion out of ignorance. You know what I mean?
well, yeah, did you
Like, they
did
would be
you
like, climate change? I don't know about that. And then
Did
they
you?
would, you know what I mean? And it would still be better.
Well, what you're going to have if you vote farmers and landowners and community big heavy hitters, some of these families that own multiple businesses and small communities, even though I hate the Applegates and Union, fuck you guys. But other than that, people like that in general are good people that care about their communities. And I don't know if you've seen yesterday's video all the way through, but when John Doyle talked about the horseshoe
Yeah, I did. I
theory,
watched it.
so I think that's what you're getting at is the horseshoe theory. You're going to have the farmers that all they give a shit about is, their cows and their cattle. And when it comes to anything other than that, they're kind of ignorant. I'm not saying they're stupid. They just don't know, right? So when they come to vote for these laws, they're going to vote the same way that the hyper-intelligent people that are on our side are going to vote for. Because you're going to have the more ignorant crowd vote with the highly intelligent crowd, and it's the normies in the middle that are constantly trying to find issues with both. So
Right, like I watched a PhD talk about like the negative effects of the vaccine, like a few weeks ago. And he was breaking it down, and it's like that. You can have a guy break it down in a 10-minute, breakdown with a slideshow, and he's showing you the science, he's showing you the molecules, he's showing you the cells and how your cells are reacting. And the conclusion is, I'm not taking that. But then you also have like the trailer trash, or like like the farm town freaking country boy who's like, I ain't taking that. And it's the same conclusion. Yeah, exactly. It's the same conclusion. It's just two different ends of the spectrum. And then it's like John Doyle said, it's the middle people who are the ones that like think they're these. It's like the person we work with, the one individual who thinks she's like a genius when she's an idiot, who told me one time that English is a Latin language. But
well,
anyways, I did kind of want to. What? Sorry, what?
She, so just on her, she's very manipulative. She will talk to some people and try to manipulate their point of views. And when you call it how it is, she just doesn't like that. I don't know if it's her female desire to argue, or if it's just her, trying to be controversial or whatever it is. If she thinks that
She's
shit's
just a
cute,
liberal.
I don't know. I mean, I don't get it.
I think her problem is the same problem with most liberals. They watch a couple 5-minute Watch Mojo videos and a couple 5-minute Now This videos on YouTube, and they think they're fucking geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. I mean, or they'll read like a New York Times article, or like a Vox article, or like a what's the other one where it used to actually be good journalism. Gavin McInnes started it, where Vice News, right?
Mm-hmm.
It used to be good, but again, it's like Vice News. They watch a Vice News 45-minute special, and they think they're a fucking genius now. That's what liberals are. I mean, that's
yeah.
But
So the big thing that my contention with people like that are they have some ground to stand on when it comes to people watching videos and finding out the information. But what they don't understand is a lot of the people that are anti-vax or anti-war, or whatever we're trying, anti-big government, when we don't just watch the Vice videos, right? We get into the community, we have conversations with one another, we start up discords and all kinds of things where these
we
liberals
watch videos that aren't complete lies.
that too. And we're looking at information behind that. We're looking for information from multiple sources, not just echo chambers. And when it comes to liberals, they just don't do that. Like you said, they see one video, they watch one MSNBC, hour-long episode about COVID-19 or something like this, and then all of a sudden they are experts. But they never seek to have any research after the fact. Like when let's take America First, for example, right? So you show me America First. I tell you that the language and stuff is a little bit, I don't want to use the word radical because I'm trying to give people examples on why they aren't radical, but just a little bit extreme from what I was using.
Harsh.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of harsh to the ear. Some
Yeah.
of the shit Nick says.
So the first episode, a little bit harsh, but I still grasp the concept that he is saying things that I think I believe in, but that I'm not allowed to say. I immediately connect with that, but that's not where it stopped. That's not where the support 100% AF came from. The support after that came once I looked into the community, the people who were also involved, why they were involved, the people who were involved and why they aren't involved anymore. And you start to see a lot of things that you see in yourself that you wish you could either do or that you are doing. And I talked about that as well last night. Somebody had told me the things that you say that are radical, I think you say them because people are influencing you and you're just saying what they're saying. But that's not the case. Yes. Do I echo some of the things that America First says? Yes. But the reason why I started listening and following them to begin with is because they were saying the things that I thought and I believed in the first place. I'm not there because I was looking for morals and values. I was
saying that one maintenance guy.
No, I won't say. But long story short is, no, that's not the case. If anything, the influence came in. They were saying things that I thought and I believed because I wasn't looking for morality. I wasn't looking for principles. I was looking for a direction to go with my content and see how far I could push it. And I seen somebody pushing it to the limit, and I seen that they could make it. They could actually have influence and be a part of a community. And once I seen that, it wasn't influence, it was courage that I gained to then say the things that I thought and believed. And that's all that it is. I also say things that a predominantly libertarian, I guess, he doesn't really claim anything, but I say things that he says all the time. And for the most part, the only reason I don't really bring up a lot of his talking points anymore is he was really good. Even though he was a libertarian and he didn't believe in religion, he still got it. He studied philosophy in college and he also studied religion. I think that's why he doesn't believe in religion, because he probably had a bunch of liberals teaching him, they're all the same. It's all one God.
Yeah. Hinduism's just as good as Christianity.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, the reason why I really stopped talking about some of his talking points, and I still listen to him so I get a overall picture, right? So I'm not just taking things from America First. I'm also going and seeing what a libertarian thinks about the big event that's going on. And he still gets it for the most part, but he started dating a girl that has a gay kid. So whereas he would make fun of transgender people, and he would say, I don't care who you marry, but that's retarded, what.
No e-girls.
Yeah.
It's all about, see, and Nick, the AF would have caught that shit and spit it out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why AF is so superior. Like, that shit, they don't put up with. They don't put up with some woman coming in your life and completely changing your view on something. My father-in-law was going to go into business with a family member, like on his wife's side, so his wife's brother, his brother-in-law,
Mm-hmm.
and they were gung-ho. They got everything set up. They got all the licenses set up and this and that, and the LLC and everything. And the guy, for whatever reason, he put his portion in his wife's name. I don't really remember why. It might have been for tax purposes or something like that. But his wife said, well, you don't need to go into business with him. We could just do this on our own. Completely screwed him out of it. And he's like, listen, man, she's on me about it. And she's saying I can't do this and that. And I don't want to have a divorce over a business. So we're going to have to just split up the company before it even started. And what he didn't understand was all the power, all the initiative to, even though they had organized all all the main like things to get the gears moving were on my father-in-law's side, and he still holds all that. So the guy just screwed himself over because his wife got greedy. And again, return to tradition. The man needs to be the head of house. And that guy totally screwed himself out of a business. You know what I mean?
Well,
and AF teaches not to let that happen.
Hopefully it doesn't dox any of my information, but we'll jump on over to Amazon. I just ordered a book, and so with one of the greatest things about Cozy TV, other than the fact that now there's a place where you can say words like faggot and stuff like that, not get banned off the internet, other than that, other than being able to have a truly free speech streaming platform, which is probably the most significant part about it, but one of the other good things about Cozy is Nick is bringing on people that have different viewpoints but are walking the same path. Like Steven Franson. Steven Franson's going to be the next person that I don't think I'm going to do the Based or Not like series like I was going to do, just because it didn't get a lot of support when I did it, and I had to redo the fucking video 3 times, and it pissed me off. Anyways, the next person I was going to do was Steve Franson. Not so much just because he supports AF. The video I wanted to go over was him watching a Jewish, Orthodox Jewish rabbi, and this journalist interviewing him, and Steve Franson agrees with everything the Jewish rabbi says. And I remember that video. It's not to point out that we have stuff in common with Jews. It's to point out that when you have a community that is really strong, really connected, and cares about their community, putting their community first, the things you need to do to really grow that family atmosphere and to really stay strong through generations and generations. And I'm pretty sure Steve Franson agreed with everything except for the definition of love. But they both agreed that love isn't the biggest thing when it comes to keeping families together and the right thing to do. And it was it was some of the first time I had ever heard that. So I can show you that, because that's one of the reasons why I want to do this. I want to point people in the direction of other people, so they're not watching people like Ben Shapiro and Dan Crenshaw. But first off, I've
watched all Steve's shit. I'm just asking you where you're getting his videos, because I watch them on Odyssey.
I can't ever get Odyssey to work, man. So I've been putting my videos on Rumble, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. So that's what, 4 platforms? YouTube, yeah. Twitter, Rumble, Facebook, 4.
Dude,
so I wouldn't mind.
Franson videos.
Yeah. So the bad thing about where I'm watching it at is it only goes so far back. It's like he had the same issue. He got booted off of YouTube, and he just tried to start putting videos up certain places to see what would catch on. And it sounds like he's a pretty big supporter over at Gab, but I don't watch things there. But what I want to show you before I show you where I find Steven's content is I just want to make sure that it's not going to dox my my address.
Well, I'm not watching the screen anyway because I'm talking to you on the phone.
No, I know that, but like
okay.
People, if they watch this video, I don't want them to be able to see my information. All right, it just has my first name. Order, make sure that it doesn't say order to. All right, if you see anything that doxes me out, just let me know so I can delete it.
I'm not looking at it.
Oh, shit, okay.
Because I'm on the phone.
All right, so I guess I can just do that. So I just ordered this book. So I was watching old Steven Franson videos because he has quite a bit of literature that you can buy. I was surprised. He's only been writing books for about 3 years, and he has like 12 books. So this guy's really cranking them out. And I was in his chat. Yeah. I'm going to buy all of them. I actually super chatted him last night and asked if there was any way that I could get signed copies of his book, because I wanted to get some of, like, I got Nick's autograph, and I wanted to get Steve's. So I super chatted him and asked him, hey, where's the best place to buy autographed copies of your books? I know they have like autograph.com and they kind of help people out there. And he said that he has no way that you can buy autographed copies of his book. And until he gets an intern or something like that, he probably won't. So I'm going to go ahead and just buy all of them anyways. But I watched an old Patrick Casey video, and he asked Steven Franson, if I just found out about Steve Franson, where should I start in the literature process of all your books? And he said I would buy the most recent one, which I also bought, which is The Gamer Influencer, or The Gamer Influence, or whatever, something like.
Inheritance.
Yes, yeah, that one. But he described some of the books, and the one that I felt like I would get the most out of was this one, and it's Cum, Consume, and Comply.
Oh yeah.
So I ordered
Have you heard
that.
the song Heave Ho?
I've not listened to any of his music yet. So
Well, I don't want to say on the stream, but he's only got a few songs that I really like. I'll just say that. But the others, and he doesn't have a high budget or anything. But anyway, so dude, you gotta watch. Did you watch the video with the Indian Guru where Steve breaks that one down? That one's so hilarious.
no, but we can watch it when I show you where I find his videos at. All right,
It's
so
like
this
an hour-long one.
I gotta piss, so I'll probably play like 10 minutes of it or something. So we're going to jump back over to screen share. So right now we're at rumble.com. Another reason why I'll show you this is because if you type in Death by Tyranny and the search bar, you can't see my mouse. What the fuck? Well, anyways, if you type in Death by Tyranny podcast on rumble.com and you do not switch video to channel, it will not pop up. So they need to fix that. But you can, once you put in
BitChute is too.
Once you put in channel, these are just my last couple of videos that I just started posting over here too. So there's only so many videos.
The other one that you have to watch is where it was like called I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically two troubled Australian teens go to like an American ranch out in Montana, and he breaks that video down. That's a really good one. And then the Connor and Brittany series is really good. It's these two, I think I already told you about it, but it's these two hippies. They started out clean cut and decent people, and they like have this liberal philosophy, and then they spiral downhill, and like the guy has like this nasty dreaded hair, and he used to be like clean cut and nice, and then the girl just looks rough, and they do shared partners. They share partners, and then they had a kid that they didn't assign it a gender, and then the wife got a lesbian girlfriend, and the lesbian girlfriend kicked the guy out of the house, like elbowed him out of the house, and the girl Brittany like agreed with it, so he ended up having to move into like some shitty like apartment rental.
Well, I haven't seen that one in particular, but he did have one where there was a guy that when COVID started, he decided to live the sailor lifestyle, and he took him and his wife or girlfriend, and they went sailing, and eventually she like left. This is actually a really good one as well. I have seen this one. It talks about like the human emotion and how people over in the UK are like, it's okay if you've been with somebody for a long time and you want to have sex with somebody else, go ahead and stab them in the back. And Steven's like, what the fuck? What is wrong with you, you evil bitch?
Well, that's how the England is way worse than we are on that kind of shit. It really is.
Well, if
like,
you don't,
the only people who are still like traditionally English are like the drunks, like the pub drunks.
well, we should have never let UK or Britain influence us in any way after 1776. This punk rock movement, I know a lot of people like punk rock music, but honestly, it fucking sucks. All right, it's just a lot of banging around bullshit noise. This is a lot of where you get some of the influence where people start putting holes in their faces and walking around with different color hairs. That all came from punk rock, and everybody thought it was so cool because it was fighting against the man. But understand, they were fighting against British government, not American government. American government was just fine at the time. I mean, I'm sure it was kind of downsloping in the 1960s, but there is no reason that we should have let Britain at any point influence us, especially right now. Even Bosiv, like on cozy.tv, like, I love that he does a Catholic sermon on Sundays. That's super cool. But even him, he supports AF, but he's a leftist. If you listen to any of like his politics or anything, he is very, very progressive. And that's because even the most extreme conservatives over in Britain would still be leftists.
Yeah.
So, but
that's 100% true.
I'm going to play this video, and you can check it out. I'm just going to let it play. I'm about to piss myself, and then you can either hop on or you can stay on. I'll probably stay on until at least the end of the video. And but yeah, I'm just about to piss my pants.
Which video is it that you're playing?
The humans as interchangeable Smurfs. It's only about a half an hour. The Jewish rabbi one, I want to save for its own video. This one really stuck out to me. And I've seen a lot of these, but this one I'd say is one of his better ones.
Dude, you know, another good one before you go is he covers this. It's called like the moon cult or something like that. It's this crazy girl that like tried to kill herself and it didn't work, and so then she started a cult, and like it's just these lunatics, like absolute lunatics. It's freaking crazy.
I've not seen that one. Do you know when it was released?
I'll send it to you on Odyssey. I mean, or BitChute. I mean, those are the only places I watch him.
This one's pretty good too. Vampire Fashionista is child free. That one's a pretty good one too. I love it when Steve Franson goes after Jordan Peterson. For whatever reason, I just wish that maybe Jordan Peterson grew up in America. There's just something that kicks him off of the path that I'm looking to go down. But he is very intelligent. Yeah, he is very intelligent, and he does have a lot of smart conversations, and he can influence conversations and debates, but he just like barely misses the point every single time. It's almost it's like he knows what to say, but then he's like, this is what I should say, this is what I know. He's like, I know this is what I should say. I know this is what is the best for males and masculinity. But instead of saying that, I'm going to say whatever appeases to libertarians because that's the people who buy my books. And it's like, dude, you were right there. You could have said it and you didn't, you fucking asshole. But yeah, so we can, I don't know who he's trying to, we can watch. I've not seen this one. I'll play this one. I'm for real about to piss myself, so I'll be right back.
All right, go ahead.
Well, we'll make sure it's playing first.
Yo, what's going on? I'm having.
Let me know if you hear any echo, and maybe pull it up.
This is a conversation
I'll pull it up on my
that
phone.
Jordan Peterson and Stefan Molyneux had.
I don't, but
can you hear the video?
4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago. Can't believe it. The time flies. I want to see that the video was titled "The State of the Alt-Right." I want to see how this video has held up.
Is it loud
I
enough?
See if I still have the same thoughts about it as when I saw the original
Okay.
interview.
All right, I'll be right back.
And we're just hanging out, man. We're just talking some brainy stuff. Hopefully, we'll get into some good stuff here. I hope there should be good grist for the mill. Just gonna look into this, see what's going on. So, without further ado,
well, and as state power increases across the West. And as state power still depends upon language rather than force.
That changed. That changed. Now it's depending on force, and this is because of the FBI and the intelligence agencies collaborating to destroy the lives of Trump supporters for going and having peacefully protested their objection to the results of the 2020 presidential election at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th of 2021. The resultant extremist persecution that has happened in the wake of that is now that is the signal that the regime, or some people call it the citadel, the globalists now have to rely on open coercion. Now it's different in different places. Like Germany, there's been open coercion for probably a couple of years. In Canada, there's now open coercion with Christian pastors going to prison, going to jail for what? For nothing. So it's different in different places. In the UK, we could say it was, probably the first place where coercion has been openly used, maybe in Tommy Robinson's case or something, So it's different in different countries. But in America, certainly, full-blown totalitarianism has taken root now. We have transitioned out of the globalists maintaining control through verbal manipulation. So.
Because it's not totalitarian. Once you've got totalitarianism, you can just shoot people and drag them off into camps and starve them and beat them and do whatever you want to them. So
keep them in solitary confinement for months.
It becomes, you still have to maintain the propaganda, but right now, power hangs by the thread of syllables. And so because there's so much power to people who are...
Bro, the thread is gone, dude. The thread broke.
Verbally fluent, and people who, have that kind of verbal ability and agility, it draws them. A lot of people are drawn into try and use that power. Politicians and pundits, people on the media who can, wave the wand of their tongues and summon riots or can't, what they're saying now about what happened in Charlotte. Suddenly now 63 American Trump supporters are all racists because of a narrative. That kind of power is very heady. And I think it's given a lot of power to people who have very high verbal abilities. I would say low conscientious.
I was looking at other videos. I was trying to find videos to send you on Odyssey. I wasn't really listening.
Oh, that's fine. Like I said, I just wanted to play something because dude, I don't think I've ever pissed that long in my life. That, and when I was out there, I thought somebody was in my house, so I had to do a door check because all my kids are sleeping. But yeah, yeah. If anybody wants to check out Steve Franson, Rumble's a good place. It seems to work pretty good for me. I really wish that Odyssey was able to, I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi or my phone service, but I can't get it to work very well on my PC or my phone. And because of that, I haven't really done much with Odyssey. So, and maybe we can check that out. But to be honest, I'd be lying if I didn't say I wasn't really hoping you would look at it on your end when you start making videos, that you wouldn't get into Odyssey a little bit, and then I could just because I got too much going on and I'm already posting to 4 places, and I really want to start posting audio only on Spotify and iTunes, because podcast in general, the reason why I wanted to get into podcasting and not so much the visual aspect of it is there's like billions of people on YouTube. Now, that's good because there's a lot of eyeballs that go to YouTube, but you can only say so much on YouTube, and you have a lot of competition on YouTube. Now, when it comes to podcasts, there's only like, I think 6 million podcasts out there, which seems like a lot, but compared to YouTube channels, it's like 1/10 of the competition. So if there are people out there looking for podcasts to listen to, you have more luck with people stumbling upon your podcast and continuing to follow you and show you support over there than you do with YouTube. For example, Drinking Bros podcast, some of the guys that I listen to over there, which I've been trying not to because they're strongly tied to Black Rifle Coffee, and I just don't like the direction that those guys are going into. They did separate their companies. It used to all be Black Rifle, and Drinking Bros was like under the umbrella of that, and Dan Holloway decided to break the companies up and create Tetherball Academy. And the only reason that they have the following they do on YouTube, and the only reason they have the money to travel around the United States and go to all these places is their podcast. Where they make their money is Spotify and iTunes. It is not on YouTube. Anything they do on YouTube is like minuscule. And they have like I think they're up to like 35 people staff. over at Tetherball Academy, and they have like 17 different podcasts, and of those 17, like 10 of them are in the top 150. So that and the guy I was telling you about that I know on my Facebook that actually has a podcast that does fairly well, the Matter of Fact podcast, he has, anytime he has come on my videos and tried to offer some kind of advice, that's what it's been. You really got to get the audio only, and I have the equipment and the ability to do so. I just haven't tried it. All I really need to do is hit record on my interface, and I would have the audio only version of any of these streams, and I just always forget to do it. I never think about it, and without that audio only copy, I can't even try. And I have the software to transfer over to Spotify and iTunes. I have iTunes and Spotify downloaded. The app that you need to take audio from like what it's recorded as and switch it over to MP3 so you can host it over at Spotify is called, I believe it's called Reaper. I have it on I just haven't messed with it a lot. But I already have the account set up and everything. I just literally forget every single time. One of these times he's going to be on one of these lives and he's going to be like, hit the fucking record button. But next time he is on here, I'm going to see if maybe he wants to come on mine first. And see, because from what I can tell, he seems very libertarian, but he is also religious. So I don't know. I don't want to say he's libertarian. He's never tried to combat anything that I've said. I just think maybe his podcast isn't trying to cause that controversy in the political atmosphere. They talk about things, but they're not going to say, them savages in the street are fucking looting every day. He just don't talk about stuff like that. But he's never came on here and disagreed with me. And he also offered for me to come on to his podcast. He just said he was busy for a few months, and I don't want to be a coattail rider, so I've not been bugging him about it. And as far as the people in AF go, I've come to just accept until it is offered. I probably will never ask for them to come on mine or for me to come on there, just because they really seem like they've had terrible luck with that, and they really do not like it. So
Yeah.
I think if I would have gotten to AF 2 years ago, it would be a different story. But as of right now, they've just had so many people come back and stab them in the back that now they're...
Well, of course, CWC had to freaking ruin it. CWC really ruined it because Patrick Casey was a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, he was early on, too.
CWC ruined it. Yeah, Patrick was with them for a while. He was with them before a lot of these guys like Dalton and all them. But the thing is his situation was he started getting kind of scared about, the direction it was going. He was afraid that,
I watched the video. I watched the video I watched the video that caused Beardson to go after him, and then I also watched the video after, where he was like, I don't want my fans to go after them, and I wish they would leave me alone, and it just hurts my feelings that friends after this long would stab me in the back because I didn't go to an event. And it's like, bro, they didn't stab you in the back, and they didn't go after you because you didn't go to the event. They went after you because you called Nick a liar and said that he wasn't telling people that he was on an FBI watch list. And he told, even if he didn't say that, he told you that in confidence that you were one of his friends, and you went out on public, in front of thousands of people and displayed personal information, which in turn probably cost Nick to lose a lot of money and make him look bad in the process. And instead of making him look bad, all the gropers were like, dude, that was fucked up. That's what happened.
Right.
That's what went down with that situation.
CWC he clearly just got in it just for the fame, for the clout and everything. And he really just was the definition of coattail riding. So, and Nick's even said he doesn't even care anymore. He doesn't want to keep talking bad about him. He doesn't care.
Beardson doesn't.
Actually hung out with him in California.
Beardson won't talk about CWC when people bring him up, or somebody was like, "Oh, I think CWC was in jail." Beardson was like, I don't fucking care. That dude's dead to me."
Yeah,
So-
I mean, but it's so stupid because he went and ruined it for like guys like who actually are like committed, you know, like us too.
So I've been paying attention, and I'm not gonna dox anybody because that shit's fucked up. But Beardson is very close to us. I will say that, and I don't know like exact mileage or pinpoint or city, but he is close because I've been to the other side of Kentucky, and we'll just leave it at that. He's close enough that we could do stuff in person. That's another reason why I started like really catching on to him, because I feel like the things that he sees in everyday life and the reason he is what he is he sees a lot of the same things that we see, because we don't see the things in person every single day that's going on in California or in Portland or in New York. We see what's going on in little town Midwest, and in my opinion, that has more effect on what's going on in the United States, because places like California have always been, you know, somewhat different. But once it reaches the Midwest, once it starts to affect small town Ohio, then you know shit's really hitting the fan. When it makes it this deep into the heartland of the country, you know what I mean? And I think Beardson gets that. Nick gets it obviously too, but he gets a lot more of the dramatic effect, you know what I mean? Like he's like, I'm telling you these things are wrong and this is how bad it can get. And then Beardson's saying like, not only is it that bad in Chicago, but it's getting that bad in the Midwest. So clearly these things have downstream effects, and it's going to affect all of America at some point if we don't stop it now. So I think that's a lot of where his point of view comes from. And yeah, man, it's unfortunate that they've had so many issues with people, because I was going to look into Power Chat, but I don't do it for the money. At some point I might throw up a Power Chat if this gets, you know, to the point where I can't afford to do it anymore. I might throw up some kind of link for people to send in super chats or something. But right now I don't even have the following for it.
Protest?
So they're doing America Fest. I don't think they're calling it AFCON yet, but America Fest is happening in Arizona on December 27th and 18th and 19th, I believe. It's a weekend in mid-December. They're going to be in Arizona out with probably Yoba. I would imagine that's the reason why they're in Arizona. But they're doing America Fest out there. I don't know if they're going to be doing protest while they're down there. I heard he might be doing another protest somewhere out towards New York here soon at the beginning of December. But that's all I heard. I think he's having so many issues with his super chat and entropy and everything like that he's had to focus on other things. But
Dude, I want him to come to Ohio.
yeah, Columbus would be a good spot to do it in, especially if he knew a little bit about what's
Dude,
going
like
on
every
with the
other
primaries.
groper- Every other groper is like Ohio groper, another Ohio Zoomer,
Buckeye
IMOH
groper.
Like,
Yeah, there's a Buckeye
dude,
groper
there's
too.
a shit ton. I mean, there's like every name under the book. Like for Ohio, they're there. I've talked to the Ohio spelled out groper, you know, Ohio groper.
Yeah, I gotta
I
put Discord on my computer and try to see if I can enter voice chats through my interface with my mic, so I can hop on there when they have people.
Stream it.
Yeah, because recently I thought that. Have you ever heard any of the conversations or when they let Gibby come in and play games and stuff? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's the last time I was in there. I was in the waiting room, and he never called on me because it was over. But yeah, the last time they were talking about anime, they were debating anime.
Mhm.
That's when I went in. I that was when I talked to Modern Monarchist, which was cool.
So yeah, modern monarchist has been on there. Helicopter Money has been on there, but Gibby's on there a lot. And before I forget about it, let me show you this. So I thought Gibby was just somebody that super chatted him and didn't have a whole lot, you know, like interaction. Maybe he just messed around in Discord, but it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. I found this scrolling YouTube the other day, and it's going to be hard for me to even find. I was trying to find Stephen Franson, not videos, but he does essays. I was looking for a Stephen Franson essay, and I ran across this. And there's actually a Telegram channel for it, but it's inactive, which sucks because it looks like it would be really cool. I'm not going to be able to find it now. Son of a bitch. Anyways, there was a podcast that was called Groipercast, and the guy who ran it was Gibby. And there's only 2 videos on YouTube. One of them is with Steve Franson, and I don't know who the other one is with, but they, if you join the Telegram channel, he has like 50 episodes, and they're all with like big name AF people, Beardson, all this. So that's where Gibby knows them from. So
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's just getting in Discord, dude. You'll get in touch with a lot of gropers. Some of them though, like Jaden's thing gets annoying. Not Jaden, his Discord gets annoying because you can tell they're like really young, and they just don't it's like they're not even like there for the movement. They're just fucking there to like post memes. And like there's a lot of anime, like that's why they had the huge debate. Like a lot of them are like super, like they've all got these little girl anime avatars, and it's like, what the fuck? Like,
did
this
you
shit
see
needs to be cleaned up.
Did you see Dalton added a sticker to his chat that is it's the little Pepe, and he's looking at a computer, and the computer has an anime girl on it, and like the animation to the sticker is supposedly like somebody walks in and catches him looking at the anime girl, and he like freaks out and shuts his computer real quick. It's the best sticker I've seen on Cozy. I posted it like 100 times just because, yes, I've noticed that they're, you have some of the younger groypers that unfortunately are like, I don't watch porno, I just watch very filthy anime. But no, I'll switch it over to screen share and I'll show you this real quick. So I just happened to stumble across this. We'll shrink it down a little bit because YouTube's bigger. There we go. All right, so this is a Discord voice chat that he's just has his capture card on, and his Telegram, and then he's got Steve Franson in it. Let's see how I play it.
And we also have our good friend Parker.
It's pretty quiet though.
And our special guest tonight, of course, Steve Franson.
Oh, it's quiet because I turned it down on YouTube. Duh.
And I'll go ahead and turn it over to Gibby, and he'll keep us going.
Yes. So Steve.
So I'm
a few
wondering if it
questions
was
for
Gibby
you
and somebody
regarding,
else, and then whoever was doing it with them
Zoomers,
kind of had a falling out with
being
Gibby.
online,
and
bug
that's why they
people,
stopped
gutter
it.
people, beta males. I think the first question is, what should young Zoomers like myself?
But this is
and
what
many
between this and the Patrick Casey podcast is what I was trying to figure out which Steve Franson book to buy. And that's a pretty good podcast. They talk about cooming and like the definition of it and stuff like that. I don't know, man. But
Yeah,
it's getting
I'll
pretty.
probably have to hop off here.
Yeah, it's getting pretty late. I think I'm gonna hop off too. That, and if I make these too long, it's a pain in the ass to upload them. Takes forever.
Yeah. Did I tell you about Walmart around here is freaking starting out from $17.50 to $22 an hour?
What's the $22 an hour? Is that
It's, dude, most of the positions it states that. It says starting anywhere from $17.50 to $22 an hour. That's like for stalker. I think what else? Dude, it was most of the jobs. So I applied to like a bunch of them, and I got an interview Tuesday. Dude, if I get into Walmart for $22 an hour, I'm fucking quitting where we're at.
Yeah, but
I'm pulling out of my 401k. and I'm fucking wilding out at Walmart all day long.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
be wearing.
even care if they
I'm
don't
gonna be
give me
wearing
40 hours.
Jordans. I'm gonna be wearing Jordans every day to work.
Hell yeah, dude! I'm gonna be wilding out at Walmart, chilling.
I mean, shit. You might as well. You know what's funny? Let me know. Are you doing an interview at the one in Tip City or Troy?
no, it's the one over by me in Inglewood.
Either or. I have family that's been at the one in Inglewood for like 20 years. The guy who's the head of
Working there?
yeah, the guy who's the head of electronics, and the guy who's it's a girl, but the girl who's the head of electronics and the guy that's the head of the toy department. They've been there for like 20 years.
Dude, say
And-
something to them for me.
And then my aunt
they
might
make
be
good money?
my well, yeah, she does, but she's been there for like 30 years, dude, and she might even be retired. I don't know. I haven't talked to her in a while. I'll try to get a hold of her on Facebook and let her know. But I do believe her cousin, which is the other guy I'm talking about, I think he's still there, and he makes enough money to simp on strippers. So, but and then if you apply to the one in Tip City, my wife's family, all her stepbrothers run that pretty much. They're all, I guess they had like 20 managers per shift, and they just gave everybody raises and kept one manager, and they were both Nikki's stepbrothers. So,
Dude, say something to them, because if I can get in there at $22 an hour, I swear, dude, if I can get in there at 20, I'll quit where we work. I'll quit my job.
are
Because
they?
I'll pull out of the 401k. I've got a lot in the 401k. I'll just pull out of there, pay the taxes on it
Mm-hmm.
and the penalty, and I'll be freaking golden, dude.
Um,
And then I just put in my time at Walmart, because I only make 23 where we're at now. So if I get started out at 22, are you kidding me? Like it'll only take a few years, and I'll be making more, a lot more.
I think
than
that's
what
what
I'm
a
making now.
lot of people. I was just talking to somebody at work about this. What they don't understand is, yes, we are replaceable. They can replace us, but the people that are replacing us are fucking retarded, for one, and for two, they're scared to discipline any of them because they're minorities. And for three, what they don't understand is they're not the only place that's replacing people. Everybody's replacing people because everybody has either too many spots they need to fill, or they have too many assholes that they want to get rid of. So we can literally, you remember the guy who got fired for talking about girls' butts and stuff? He just messaged me and was like, dude, they're hiring at $25 an hour. After a year, your insurance goes down to $20 a month. It's good insurance. The only thing is you can't smoke. You have to take a nicotine test. So if you can quit
What place
smoking,
is it?
I'll tell you. Hold on.
But dude, but think about that. That's another factory, though. Dude, if you could make the same money in a factory at Walmart, are you fucking kidding me? Well, dude, most of the Walmart workers don't even work. They just walk around all day.
Yeah, but I don't know if I could ever go back into working with the general public, especially in a place like Walmart. I feel like I would beat somebody's ass. Now, if they're gonna stay where they're not
People
open
know not
24
to
hours,
ask.
if they're not 24 hours anymore and they're only gonna stock during night shift, I would do that. It's called Midmark.
And where's that at?
Doesn't say. I can probably look it up real quick.
Well, either way, man, I'm quitting if I get into Walmart at over $20. I don't even care, dude. I'm quitting.
Versailles.
I'm
It's in Versailles,
where's
Ohio.
that at?
Versailles is
How far is that from us?
you might hear my maps come on because I just hit maps to see. It says the manufacturing plant is 20 miles from us. It looks like it's south of Dayton, which I thought Versailles was north.
Me too.
No,
Well,
it's
whatever.
okay. They have multiple places. So the manufacturing is north of Dayton. It's up by I-27.
Hmm.
It's above where you go to Richmond, so it's past I-70.
So what? One of my
Oh,
neighbor.
okay. Yeah, I was right. Versailles is in between West Milton and Wapakoneta. So between
Oh,
us,
okay.
between us and St. Mary's, pretty much.
So, my neighbor used to work at Walmart, like back in the day, and he went in there and talked to his old manager, and she was saying that the reason why they're paying so much is because all the who's that work there, they keep pointing out, and they just work for a few weeks and they don't show up.
Well, this isn't anything that should be surprising because we have the same issue at our work. We have the same issue everywhere. And what it is we're getting these managers and supervisors that are too afraid to discipline because, they're getting smart. They're saying things like, "Oh, I hurt my back, so I have to leave." And where they would get a point normally, these people are so I don't even what word would you call that? It's not cooming, it's not simping.
Scamming,
It's just appeasing.
scamming.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
they're doing. I'm talking about what the supervisors are doing when they're too afraid.
Oh, fucking cowards! That's what they
Yeah.
are.
And I've pointed this out, and it's one of the reasons why I think they put
pussies.
an individual in a supervisor spot so he could deal with some of that stuff. Because if you noticed, the person that they chose to be supervisor, let's say somewhere else, so we're not being too specific, but they chose a certain individual of a certain color to be a supervisor, and then they put them on the shift with the most people that are that same color. Why do you think that is? Well, it's because we have plant managers and plant supervisors that are too afraid to discipline any of these people.
Which shift's got the most of them? I don't.
Uh,
Or do you not want to say?
my shift.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, I guess. So oh shoot. So he's going to be over our shift because when I go back, I'll probably still be on that shift. Because when I go back, I'm not supposed to go to days. Jeff told me I'd go back to original shift until they were ready to put me on days. Which I've been gone for so long, maybe they are ready to put me back on days.
I mean, why does that matter? They have one processor on one shift, and the reason is because they let the new supervisor go as soon as he won the fucking bid. So why do you have to wait to go to day shift when they'll pull and leave one person all by themselves just to appeal? Oh, that's right, because he's a fucking minority. Imagine that.
Yep. Well, we'll. I think if people like me start quitting, I think that place is just screwed. It'll be closed in the next 5 years.
Well, at least Walmart's doing something about it. At least they notice what's going on and what they need to do to fix it. You know, I don't think places like where we work in the factories and manufacturing, I don't think they're going to catch on because they have this attitude where as long as there's a body there, we're good to go. And I think they're going to find out that that's not the case, that they're going to get so far behind in production because these people can't comprehend how to work common machinery when it comes to manufacturing and don't want to show up to work, that they're just going to be screwed. I mean, could you imagine? Right. Okay, you go back to the same shift that I'm on, right? Me, you, and our other buddy calls off. That pretty much shuts down that shift. And we're not even in the same departments. If me, you, and one other guy took off all at the same time, they would be screwed.
How's Blomold been since I've been gone the whole time?
They're just throwing bodies in there. They've had people from other shifts come in and help, and
Are they struggling or no?
Well, they fixed some of the blow mold, so that helps out a lot. From what one of the guys in there was telling me, is they can pretty much have like one person per blow mold instead of like multiple people to handle one because it's such a piece of shit. I guess they
Yeah.
fixed some of that stuff, and they got
Good.
rid of. Did you already take leave before they got rid of their lead?
Well, they got rid of what?
The lead, the lead on
Oh,
our.
yeah, well, I heard he quit right after the meeting. But yeah, I did take the lead by then.
He
He
did.
didn't quit. He got fired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe he did. Maybe he did quit, but the whole conversation started because of his point, so which is not surprising.
Yeah.
That's the
Well-
only reason I would tell you to be careful with the maternity leave thing, because I think a lot of that got him in trouble. He was taking advantage of it, and they were pointing him, and he didn't know. But I mean, he also used and abused the point system too. But we both know if they
I
want to
don't think
give
he
you
got
points,
that
they'll
'cause
give you
they
points.
can't point me. They can't point me for this.
Well,
I'm
I
allowed
just
up to 6 months of it.
I just had to sign into my my email on work, which I never check, and I have like 4 tardies, and I've not been tardy at all, so I don't know where that shit's coming from. And I
Probably
bet,
Jeff trying to get you out the door, trying to sneak it in and get you out the door.
well, it seems to only happen when they put processing bids up. So, and they also
Yeah,
changed
I know, right?
they changed the bids to where you have to be a level 4.
Really?
Yeah. Which
Dude, there's such scumbags there.
that's going to come back to bite them in the ass, because there's not a whole lot of minorities that work with us that are level 4. So,
That means that they're going to be job locked.
mm-hmm.
No, they'll make exceptions for them. Maven shouldn't have. Oh well, god damn it! Now I'm saying names.
Well,
No,
you're
he
right.
shouldn't.
You're right. So,
He should
how
have been
does
pointed
somebody with the worst attendance that walks in, comes in, works whenever he fucking feels like it, get a supervisor job?
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm done. I'm done with that place, dude. I don't care. That's why I took the extra month. And
I
who
would-
knows, I might extend it longer.
I was pretty upset when I found out that the supervisor we had that went to days wasn't coming back, because even the day I found out, I had talked to him and he said, "Hey, I'm coming back to days, don't worry about it, or I'm coming back to nights, it'll be cool." And I was like, okay, then we just got to make it through this bullshit. And like that night, I found out that the new supervisor was going to be our supervisor, and our old supervisor was staying on days. And I was, dude, I looked at him and I was like, "You're a fucking bitch." And every time I see him, all I do is either tell him to fuck off or flick him. I'm pretty
The
sure
old one or the new one?
the old one, the younger one, younger Bobby Hill,
Oh.
or older Bobby Hill. Yeah, and he used to watch that. That's one of the people I was referring to at first that used to watch every episode, but now they don't. I'm pretty sure that's why, because I've been an asshole to him, but he deserves it, because that was some real fucking Jewish shit. You told me you were coming back, and you already knew you were not. You were just lying to work the system. That was fucked up. I would have much rather you said, "No, I want to go to day shift. There was an opportunity, so I took it." I would have respected that.
Well, dude, that's all they do. That's all they do is lie. That's all they do is lie.
And
I mean,
this is the kind of shit that I'm talking about. Even when I talk abroad about some of like the race relation stuff and what's going on in the supply chain and everything, and I'm saying, look at what you see with your own 2 eyes. What's actually happening in front of you in your own community. This is the stuff, if I'm saying it and it sounds harsh, but you're seeing it, then don't say I'm radical, because you know I'm fucking right. And that's why I don't mind talking about like what we actually do. I just won't use names or where it's at, because I'm not saying this stuff because Nick Fuentes is saying it. I'm saying it because I fucking see it with my own 2 eyes every single day, that if you're not white, you get taken, or if you are white, you get taken advantage of. And if you're not white, you can pretty much do whatever the fuck you want, including put your hands on other employees and get away with it.
yeah.
So,
That was like kind of my last straw of like, okay, I really don't care about this place anymore. When he got away with just attacking people and they all just did damage control for him instead of actually firing him like they should have.
I mean, it's just, I don't know how you can see stuff like this going on and be in those kind of positions and say that you support, middle class Americans, but you go into work every day, you don't clock in because you're on salary. And then these middle class Americans that you say you take their side and you care about, and that are fighting for, the legacy of your family, you treat them like shit, you take advantage of them, and then you let minorities come in and do whatever the fuck they want. It's just to the point where I try to have civil conversations, but you say the same thing over and over and over. And then it's like, okay, well, I tried being civil about it. I tried not using harsh language, but maybe the only way you're going to grasp what I'm saying is if I call you a coward and I say that you're too afraid to discipline black people. How about that? Are you happy now that I said that? Oh, now I'm being a racist. Imagine fucking that. And that's pretty much where I'm at. I mean, it's ridiculous. I say the same thing that I say, and that's another thing. I tried talking about it yesterday, but you have all these people that are like, okay, January 4th comes and you got to get the vaccine or get tested you ain't going to do shit. You're not going to lose your job over a vaccination. And it's like, bro, I fucking get on the internet and talk shit and pretty much get called a racist every single day already. At any point in time, whoever could hop on these lives.
Who the fuck's on there taunting you with that shit?
I mean, all kinds of people. Not so much on the podcast, but just in person.
And I'll have to call you. Or can you end it and I just stay on?
Yeah, I when I end it, you should be able to stay on exactly how we are right now. If not, I can just turn off my interface and it go to my speaker on my phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just, dude, it's so fucked up. Like, you know how bad it is for...
Did you end the stream?
No. But so we're talking about race relations and how much minorities are taking advantage of working class Americans, and this is bleeding into supervisors and plant managers being too afraid to discipline them and letting them do whatever, but they don't care because they're getting their paycheck, right? And
yeah.
I come on here and say shit like this, and then I go into work and they're like, everybody thinks you're a fucking racist motherfucker, right? And it's like, then they don't watch, because if they watch, I'm only saying what's true, and if they disagree, it's because they take it too fucking personal. And right now, yeah, I'm being personal. You could probably tell who I'm talking about, but in those scenarios, I make it very fucking obvious. And whether I'm being abroad or too obvious, it's still the same thing, because what we're talking about is happening everywhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating, but yeah, I'll hop off here and we can.
Yeah, I want to know who's been freaking saying that shit.
Well, now people are watching because they're like, oh, he's talking shit about somebody that we actually know. Let's see if he fucking says the name.
Well, because I freaking call in, I wonder if they've connected the dots with me.
Oh, I'm sure
Probably.
they probably know who you are, but I mean, what are they gonna do? Whatever they would do to you, they would do to me first, because I've been on here and said it by myself. And yeah, it's whatever. Like I said, if they wanted me fired, all they got to do is fucking go to YouTube and pull up one of these videos and show, whoever in HR, and I'd be gone anyways. Which is unfortunate, because they should be playing my videos in HR to be like, hey, we need to show our supervisors that they need to quit being fucking pussies and actually do something to the people that aren't fucking showing up, and taking advantage of everybody. And if white people truly feel like they're being taken advantage in our manufacturing plants, we should do something about it. But instead, they're going to ride Joe Biden's dick all the ways to the fucking White House. COVID-19, how much ever money they're making off of that bullshit. It's just ridiculous. Like, was you there in that meeting? I think it's when like COVID first kicked off or whatever, and they had somebody pretty high up hold a meeting, and they were like, yeah, we're the CEO of the company is on a call with the White House staff trying to figure out how we're going to handle the situation. Well, now we have vaccine mandates coming in, and you're telling me that same CEO can't get in contact with the White House and be like, hey, my employees don't want this. And even if it's 50-50, 50% of my workers don't want this. And the other 50% are already vaccinated. So we need to come up with a better plan. Well, yeah, because I'm sure a lot of the cowards that aren't doing anything about the white middle class being taken advantage of in manufacturing plants are the same people that are going to go and get vaccinated. So,
Right. Oh no, my baby's crying. If I want to just end the stream, we'll talk real quick.
all right, yep. All right, so we're going to get off here. We carried on pretty long. I'm sure nobody's going to watch to this point, but you guys stay prepared. America first. Peace, y'all.